Welcome to Rock the Life, a podcast for fans by fans. I'm Katya.
I'm Amy.
And Amy, today we have, I think, another one of our almost kindred spirits. We have Justin Sayne of the band Cruella D'Vil. He is a nephew of Larry and Althea Flynt of the Hustler
hmm
fame way back when. What really caught my attention with Justin when we were like looking and researching him was a song he put out in this last year called 364 St. Cloud. And again, this
hmm
I think ties into everything who Justin is and what I felt a real connection to. So 364 St. Cloud was the address where Larry and Althea Flynt lived. And starting from when Justin was a little boy, he would go out to Ohio and have these grand adventures at their house in Hollywood. And, the song is a love letter to, I think, more to Hollywood. And the
hmm
video is a lot of fun. I know for us to see it, it goes in the Viper Room, it goes in the Wistia Go Go. And
Yeah.
it's a really nice connection to the 80s and the music scene. And as we
hmm
talk to Justin in this episode, you can just feel like the love of what it means to have someone who believed in you. And for
hmm
him, that was his Aunt Althea. And the stories are really touching. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. And I love hearing them. So this
Yeah,
is,
I think Justin has rock and roll rebel in his blood. I
yes.
I think
And that
so.
is it.
Y-
And
Yeah.
Aim Althea, like, as you look at, she was kind of the impetus behind the start of Rip magazine.
hmm
It started off
She
as an
was.
article in Hustler magazine by Lon
hmm
Friend, and I hope I get this all
hmm
right. And because she was really into the
Yeah.
80s LA Hollywood scene,
hmm
loved
hmm
some of our favorite bands like Motley Crue.
I love how that one little thing in Hustler turned into a legendary industry magazine. And it happened actually after Althea died. But the person that she kind of gave the assignment to in Hustler magazine just took the idea with it and or of it and just ran. And now I don't think that there is a rock star that we have loved that hasn't been on the cover of Rip magazine. I feel like for rock, Rip was the equivalent of Rolling Stone, right?
Yeah, for
You
art, it was
know,
like it was
because
more more edgy. Rolling Stone, I'd
Yeah,
say, was probably more
yeah,
thoughtful. It is more thoughtful,
yeah,
whereas
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where Rip was, yeah,
But
more edgy and in there and
mhm,
like, what was going on
yeah,
in the music scene.
yeah, loved it, loved it. So it's kind of neat to know the background story of where that came from. I feel like,
And then we also have Justin's stories.
yeah,
So with
yeah,
that, I look
yeah.
forward to having you hear Justin Sayne's stories and, reminiscing a little bit about Hollywood way back in. But at the same time, he's still making music
Oh,
and keeping the rock world alive.
you guys, here's Justin.
Hey, Justin, welcome to the Rock the Life podcast. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for having me. Party's here. Party's here. Strap in. Strap in. Strap in.
Well, first thing we have to do is say thank you to Jeremy from the Hair Metal Rules
Mhm.
podcast. He's the one that told us about you and connected us with you, and we
Yep.
we adore. So we've had so much fun with him and listening to your podcast with Jeremy. So that one was absolutely great.
Yep. They
Me
were
too.
both awesome.
Yeah,
Jeremy's a good dude. Jeremy's a good dude.
yeah, he's awesome. Oh, you're good.
So, okay, first, I want you to tell us. I mean, I've probably 200 questions to ask you, but I'm going to try to limit it to just a few because you have such an amazing story in life. So, if you can you take us back a bit and tell us how you even got into rock music? And I think I have an idea of a wonderful person in your life.
There is, but I'm gonna take you even further back.
Okay.
Um, so I was probably about 5, 6 years old, and they say that your cousins are your best friend or your first best friends. So
That's
I
true.
had an older cousin. His name was Joby. So I'm five years old, and he takes me in his room, and he's playing this music that I'd never heard before. and it was Kiss. Kiss. First Kiss record, Dress to Kill, Kiss Alive. And I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm like, man, this is a lot better than those Scooby Doo cartoons. This is pretty cool. and so Kiss was the very first band, and my cousin Joby kind of like he basically kickstarted all this. From Kiss, it progressed to like Ted Nugent, the old school AC/DC with Bon Scott, and that was just like, man, it was the coolest music that I'd ever heard. And I was like, man, I couldn't get enough. Would play air guitar anytime I got a chance to, and I was like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm like, okay, this is what I see in the pictures. This is what Gene's doing. This is what Ace is doing. I'm going to do this too. And so, like, almost like any time that people try to take a picture of me, I'd be playing air guitar. I'd sit there, 5, 6, 7 years old. Yeah, I would definitely pose. Yeah. So that was like, that was definitely the kickstart. And then my Aunt Althea, who was she is my person. She had seen enough of me playing air guitar, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to surprise Justin. So I think it was on my second visit out to Los Angeles. Mom and I got into town, got in the house, and my Aunt Althea was like, hey, go in the blue bedroom. All the rooms were color coded. Said, go in the blue room. I have some stuff in there for you. So in there was 5 guitars, an amp, and this like Foot Locker full of like punk rock, new wave, metal clothes, like shirts that had like spikes coming out of the sleeves, enough spandex pants to like outfit a 5 glitter band that it was a fucking raddest thing. I was like, this is all for me, and she's like, yeah, it needs to stay here for a while until you get good enough to earn it to take it back to Ohio. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. So I'm like,
awesome.
Yep. And so it took me a while to get like good enough to be able to take it back to Ohio. Eventually I did. I could not think it. She was just one of those people that she saw something in me. She was like my first like true supporter. She saw something in me like, Justin, this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life, whether you make it or not. She's like, you're going to love this. And she had friends, she had friends in the industry. She knew the impact that making music could make. I mean, she had friends from, this star on down, bands that didn't make it, which we'll get into that later, but changed my life. Music changes lives.
Yep.
And so so when you went home with the guitars, did you like take lessons, or how did you, there's no YouTube, so how did you learn to play?
Yeah. I had to take lessons for about a year just to learn the basics, what notes are, what chords are, what notes make chords, kind of work your way around the fretboard. After I learned the basics, I basically learned by listening to records.
Mm.
Wow. So I don't know, again, this is something Althea knew. She's like, Justin's going to pick this up, and he's going to be pretty fucking good at it. She's like, I'm going to give these to him. So yeah, just basically just listen to records, cassettes, of course, and just listen to music. And you eventually pick the stuff up.
Mm-hmm. So when was the first time you saw Kiss play, or have you seen Kiss play? I'm just assuming.
I've seen Kiss play multiple times. I did go see, where did they do this at? Long Beach Arena. They did a video shoot for Crazy Nights. And I just happened to be out there at the time. They had they made it kind of publicly known that, hey, Kiss is filming the Crazy Nights video, Long Beach Arena. If you want to come down, just come check it out. It was kind of weird seeing the same song played 80 million times.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily the best song, but I did see that. I think the first time that I remember seeing Kiss was in '96 when they came back, and I saw them on the reunion tour. I saw them on the Psycho Circus tour. Here's an interesting fact. I think it was Psycho Circus tour, 98-ish. Anyways, so I was at this is up in Cleveland. They're playing, and my then singer and I we were there way up in the stands. And this was long before people were getting in. And I saw this guy walking towards the soundboard. The soundboard is right in the middle of the arena. Mm-hmm. And we look at him like, dude, that's fucking Doc McGee.
Doc McGee.
And yeah, long story. And so like we had some cassette singles. Again, this is going way back. So I'm like, we to give a cassette single to Doc McGee. Legally, this is solicited material, so legally he can't do shit with it. He literally has to throw it away. But we didn't care. So we went down there. He was behind us, by the soundboard behind his fence. We're like, Mr. McGee comes in. We give him a cassette. Hey, we're just a local band from here in Cleveland, Ohio. Check us out. Contact information is inside. Have a good night. And that was it. But to me, Doc McGee, that's pretty badass. I mean, that my whole life has been so, like a bunch of random run-ins with people that I would never expect. And that was one of them. But yeah.
So, like growing up, how did you split your time between Ohio and Los Angeles?
Whenever I wasn't in school, I was out in California, and whenever I had to go to school, I had to come back to Ohio. That's the short version. The long version is I didn't want to come back to Ohio. I just wanted to stay out there. I wanted to transfer schools. But the way life was going, the way my mom's life was, she wanted me to have kind of like a Midwestern upbringing. Mm-hmm. So she wanted me to have like normal friends, I guess, like in a small town, because it's just different. And she just wanted me she just wanted me to stay in Ohio and just be with friends that knew what was going on in my life and just to kind of not really ground me, but keep me focused.
Keep you focused, yeah.
But ground you. Like, not ground you, but ground you.
When you weren't in LA, were you playing in a band like throughout high school?
My first, so unfortunately when Althea passed, that day is when my career started. And I joined a band in high school. We played all covers. We did the 3 sets a night at the skating rink or at the local like a VFW during teen night. That's when I got the first I guess itch. I can't remember what we were called, but we would play, like I said, skating rinks, just play covers, just whatever we wanted to play basically. Graduated from high school, went out to Los Angeles for a couple weeks just to check out what was going on in the scene. Had to come back to Ohio, join another band. We would start playing clubs, and that's kind of when it all started, after Althea passed away.
Did Althea get to hear you play guitar? Did you ever get to play for her?
I did. I wasn't really that good. I was just basically playing, Scorpions, like Rock You Heart, like Rock You Like a Hurricane, just very, very simple riffs. Maybe a couple of AC/DC riffs, but unfortunately, I wasn't like good enough when she was around, to her, for her to be like, oh my God, you're really good at this,
But you were using the gift that she gave you. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All of them.
So Justin, tell me, like Amy and I will talk about like the first time we popped into Hollywood in the Sunset Strip, because I think we're all about the same age, and we were like crazy over the music scene in the 80s in Hollywood and the Sunset Strip. But you'd been going there since you were a kid, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Since I think 80 was their first trip, I would have been 10.
Oh my God, you were a child. When did you first like go out to see bands on the Strip?
So my very first trek, 1984. So I would have been 14 years old. Awesome. And it was it was basically what an awakening would be like.
I believe it.
We go from Bel Air, you go on to Sunset, you're heading east, and all of a sudden you go around that curve. And if you've been around Hollywood, if you're going east, you know what curve that is. You go around that curve and it's just like, bam. Holy shit, my life just changed. What's going on here? And you see just, mass humanity of people. And I'm just going, holy shit, what is this? We don't have this in Ohio. And words, I cannot put it into words. I literally can't, other than just awesome. Yeah, 1984 was the first trek. Just went club hopping. We would just, get in the car, just park, walk in, cool, just get out, go to another club, fake ID, just walk in another club. Wow. Go to another club. We just club hopped, and it was the coolest thing. So this is when flyers were popular. So I would, just walking around, you know how many flyers were handed to you, like, per minute, would get probably about 10 per minute. Multiply that by about 4 hours. You can imagine how many flyers I brought back to the mansion.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing. And just looking through the flyers, I'm like, man, these are like grown up guys. It's hard to explain, like when you're a 14-year-old kid and you're seeing musicians do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And what you can, in your perspective and what you can pick up. Mind blowing, DNA altering. That's really the only way I can describe it.
So, Justin, I know you've seen quite a few episodes of our show. Highly recommend that you go back and you watch our Hollywood episode. We were 16 and we, like, neither one of our parents knew we were going. We totally just took off for the weekend and spent it in Hollywood. Stayed at some sleazy motel not far from the strip. In fact, I don't think it's there anymore. I think it was like the Palm or something. But last time we were down there at the end of January.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. It wasn't very far from. Was it the Seventh Phase? What? It was one of the strip joints named in Girls. Anyway,
either Seventh Veil or the Body Shop.
I think it was the Seventh Veil. I think it was the Seventh Veil. Because I remember we passed right by it and I was like, oh my gosh. And we just, you'd enjoy it. It would bring you back a little bit. But that was our first taste. So we're sitting here just kind of going,
What year was this? What year was this?
I'm going to say, what do you think?
Well, I was 16. I was 16. So, and I'm a 73 baby. So I'm 3 years behind Justin. So what was it? I turned 20 in 93. So -4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going through my like mental Rolodex, thinking of what bands were playing, like what bands were on top of the scene, like in that era. Because by that time, like 89, 90, it had changed. It was kind of like, there were still some like really cool bands that were just getting started. That would become like the fourth wave, like Legs Up, Swinging Thing. Those are two of my favorites.
You were there. Were there when you were 14 in '84. You're just off Van Halen's made it. Had got a huge album out, but you've still got some of the bands who kind of hit in '86.
Yes.
In the clubs.
There was like in '84, Rat had, and when I use this term, it doesn't mean they left, they were gone. When I say they're gone, it basically means they had made it, they weren't around anymore. Rat was gone, Quiet Riot was gone, Motley was gone by a couple years. So there was a new wave coming in where, in '85, where, Poison would start, Rock's Regime would turn into Stryper. That next wave was coming in, and it was pretty cool. That's when, you guys will know this band pretty well, Odin. You guys will know London, which Althea knew Nader really well from London, the singer. Tons of stories. So they had that next wave of bands coming in. LA Guns and Hollywood Rose were going to merge into another different version of LA Guns and then Guns N' Roses. That whole next, the next wave of was starting to.
So you see these bands, you're going to the clubs. Do any of them from that time period particularly inspire you? Or was it just a scene?
Well, London was probably the huge influence, just because of Althea's connection to Nader. I got their cassette. Actually, I got 2 cassettes from Althea and my cousin Teresa, one of Larry's daughters. It was the Nonstop Rock, but the one that really kicked my ass is called Don't Cry Wolf. And they had the record, and it was the coolest thing to see, like Larry and Althea thanked in the back of it. Like, holy shit, this is pretty cool. But Althea was really close with Nader, and that whole connection, has basically remained until Larry passed in 2021. But Odin was cool just because of their stage setup. It's very unique. There was a band that actually opened up for Odin when I saw him at the Roxy in '87. That was a killer show. That was my first Hollywood after show party. That was August of '87. I just turned 17. So the band that was opening up for Odin, they were called Shell Shock, and they were kind of like almost like an LA version of AC/DC, just very bluesy, raw, just no fucks given. Teresa, my cousin, was going to high school with Kevin, the guitar player, and so after Odin, Teresa's like, "Hey, we're gonna go to Kevin's house, for a party just for a little bit." I'm like, "Cool, yes. All right." So went to the house. I couldn't tell you where he lived. But we got there, and imagine 17. I just turned 17 years old, still a kid, being in a room with a bunch of grown-ups. Wink, wink. Just doing their thing, man. Just playing music really loud. And I was kind of like not awkward, but I didn't really know what to do, so I basically just sat up, in the corner of the living room, right next to the stereo. They were playing AC/DC Highway to Hell. And so Kevin, the guitar player, comes up and he had long blonde hair, just looked really fucking cool. And I was like, "Well, you guys are cool AC/DC fans, huh?" He's like, "Hell yeah, we are." That was the coolest thing, man. He was like 18 years old. He was a kid himself.
Right. That's crazy.
But with the impact that music can have, the people that you meet can change your life. You just never know. Kevin never made it. Kevin never made it big time. But after Shell Shock broke up, which was shortly after this, he was in a band called I think Soil. He was in a band called American Hardcore, I think. But he was in Buck Cherry for 2 years.
Oh, and Buck Cherry. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, his name's
do you still keep in contact with him?
I do. He lives in Nashville now, and he's a really, really talented musician, just a really, really good guitar player. More laid back now. He almost plays like country rock, sort of.
Which I love.
Just different. Yeah, it's just different. It's very almost like a singer-songwriter, balladeer type stuff. But he's super talented. And I tell him all the time, dude, I'm like, all these years, these 40 years that have gone by, I'm like, I still want to write with you. He's got this bitchin' studio up in Nashville. I'm like, dude, I want to fucking record a song there.
Plug him. Who is he? Like, give us a name. How could we find him?
His name's Kevin Rentgen. Super talented. He's cut his hair off. He still looks a handsome fellow. But
no, that's okay. That's okay.
But just a really cool dude. He was like, I showed him the original flyer from that show, which I still have. It's in a frame up on my wall. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have tons and tons and tons of flyers and ads from like BAM, Screamer, Rock City News, and this scrapbook that people just look through and just like, they can't believe that somebody would have that shit. Just bands like, Warrant and Tough were playing the clubs. When Tiger Tails were doing a video shoot at at a strip bar. Just the oddest shit that I have. But anyways, Kevin's like,
we need to bring back the flyers. I'm just saying, we need to bring back the flyers. That I love them.
But that was the coolest. I mean, again, just that's what I learned from watching these older kids on the strip pass out these flyers, how they worked, how they hustled, how they talked to people, how they engage with people. You learn so much doing that.
Yeah.
And it's a time that I miss because social media's taken over.
Yeah.
I wish I could bring flyers back and cassettes back.
Right. I get you on that.
I'm ready for it. Okay, so just now I have to also ask you, you will have to like describe your life and what you were like, who Larry and Althea are, because I very much who we're talking about. We'll have to describe it to people.
Go
ahead. How would you sum it up?
So Althea was a runaway. Larry was an entrepreneur, businessman. And together they made magic.
Yes.
Althea was, just long story short, because of the episodes that I've done on my channel, this was 3-4 years ago. Telling Althea's story correctly, because people who watched the movie The People versus Larry Flynt got it wrong. Got it really, really, really wrong on Althea's side.
And so Althea was that's a beautiful episode. People need to watch that episode. It's wonderful. It
Dude,
is.
I got a comment like this morning about it. And people, this is like 4 years ago I did this, and people are still watching it and still like, I can't believe a family member did this way and so correctly and so respectful and so loving. Um, they had no idea who Althea really was. And that is I love talking rock. I love talking about metal. But in the back of my mind, when I started the channel, I'm like, I want to tell Althea's story eventually. Once I get enough viewers and once I get enough, subscribers and this and that, I'm going to tell Althea's story correctly.
And it's beautiful. It's fantastic. And I love her influence and her, like, you could just feel the love that she had for you in the story and how you tell it and everything. Okay, so they have a house in like Bel Air, which is like one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in
Mhm.
outside the world, but especially even in California.
Yeah.
Were you there? Were they having parties? Were you there even part of the scene? Did the rock scene move into the house?
It did. But full disclosure,
He's
no
like,
bullshit.
I
Because
have to interrupt you. I have to interrupt you, Justin. You're
well,
like, who's
I
listening?
know where this is going. I know where this is going. I will say this, that my mom wouldn't have allowed me to go out there
Oh,
if
true.
if things were nuts at times. But basically, Althea and Larry would basically fly my mom and I out there, so they knew when we were going to be there. So they knew when to keep the misfits away.
Oh,
So
fair.
I was not able to witness anything, but
Yeah.
there was things that I heard, some things that I can't talk about because
That's fine.
things. There was, I wish I can go in this, but I can't. But like Dennis Hopper was there a lot. You just had such a random run in of like, just counterculture. That's the word I'm looking for. Counterculture
Yeah.
Like,
icons would come
very,
to the house, and they would play cards in the basement. They had this this poker table laid out. They had this bar laid out. They had this entertainment system, which was fucking awesome. And that's where a lot of this stuff happened, was in the basement.
that's okay. No, that
Well,
sounds like, I absolutely love that they kept it away from you. Like when you were there, yet you were going out and doing on the strip, finding your own
yeah,
fun.
yeah. It was like Teresa, little Larry, and I. We would just basically get in the car, and my mom. Okay, so here's how the visits went. So I'd get out of school, we'd fly out there. I would stay for an infinite amount of time. My mom could literally only stay like a week because she had to go back to work.
To work, yeah.
So that 1 month or 2 months, free reign
Right?
With your
of just of stuff. In '84, the first trip I made to the LFP offices. This is where the old offices were. If you look up the Yes album, Waiting for the One, there's two buildings on that album cover. That's where the LFP offices used to be. So in '84, Althea would be by herself, and that's when Nader would come in and just kind of keep her company and hang out with her for a while. Just chaos, but it was organized chaos. It was they had an end goal in mind. They knew what they were doing. But when it came to family, it was just really, really cool and just really warm. They talked business every once in a while, but it was more like, especially with Althea, because she was from Ohio. I mean, Larry's too, but it was just very almost like Midwestern when it's just family. It was very calm. Just hey, just like, hey, how it's great to be out here, and just California is so beautiful, and it's great to see everybody again. I thank Larry and Althea for bringing me out there all the time, and just cool, The last time I actually got to see Larry, it was actually out there, was at the Peninsula Hotel, which is in Beverly Hills, I think. And I was old enough to know what I wanted to say to him. Larry actually loved my dad, and we sat down. It was probably about 8 of us together. And Larry sat down. He looked at me. He's like, Justin, in Larry speak, You know, Justin, your dad was the nicest, kindest man I've ever met.
Hmm.
And I bawled.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I bawled. I
but
was just like, Larry, he loved you too. He understood what you were doing. Um, when they were before they moved out to California, they bought color was it? Candy apple red Rolls Royce. And
such a
I know,
wild.
I
Yeah.
know. So they had this candy apple red Rolls Royce, and they got it from the dealership. They drove it to my Aunt Marcia's house, and we were there. And my dad, being an extreme car enthusiast, he saw it upon himself to check it out inside and out. Check out, make sure the motor is cool, make sure the interior is cool, just make sure this car is not going to blow up. But there's a picture we have of my dad sitting, standing outside of the Rolls Royce, just with the hood up. He's peeking inside, just looking it over. And
You'll have to send me that one.
That
I
is
can. It's
can you
just
imagine a cherry red Rolls Royce? No, that
it was beautiful. Yeah, when I get home, I go through it's in one of my scrapbooks. I know exactly what it's what it is, where it's at. There's some really cool pictures of Althea in there that I may or may not have put in the video that I made. But yeah, it was about family. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't crazy all the time. I mean, when Larry
right.
got into work mode, yeah, I got off the fucking chains real quick. But when it was just us, like having dinner, we would do like backyard barbecues with family. Just there's a video that my daughter has that she made for one of her college projects, and there's a video she found somewhere where I was probably 5 or 6. They had yet to make the move out to California, and Larry's just sitting there, just eating a hamburger. I'm sitting there playing, toys with, Teresa and little Larry, and Althea's manning the fucking grill like a boss.
I love
That's awesome.
And she's got this huge smile on her face, and it was just really cool, just to have family together,
Yeah.
because we knew eventually that they were gonna have to move, out to California because shit was just getting too crazy here, and Ohioans didn't deal too well with their kind of chaos. So yeah, they had to leave, which eventually changed my life.
I have to also ask, when you guys were in Hollywood, did you ever eat at the Denny's in Hollywood, the Rock and Roll Denny's?
Rock and Roll Denny's.
I
Usually
don't
in the middle of
remember.
the night.
No, because
Okay.
because we had
chefs.
It was a common
we
folk
had the house.
place.
We had well, yeah, we had the mansion to go home to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like,
Yeah.
you don't need.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
eat with the with the dregs of society at Rock and Roll Denny's, and
That was us.
we didn't stoop down to their level.
Oh
we
man,
ate a 5-course meal at 364 St. Cloud with the chef cooking up just badass shit.
Right.
Somebody actually did ask me this. I've had tons of comments and just really not odd questions. It's really kind of like, President really. Somebody asked me like what Althea liked to eat.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, she actually liked comfort food. She liked, steak, meat and potatoes, just very like Midwestern comfort food type stuff.
Casserole.
Just very Midwestern, just piece of chicken or whatever, just very like, Midwest
Normal
comfort food. Yeah. When little Larry and I would run through the house, we just, we'd get hungry, but we couldn't find the chef. This was our delicacy, and this is about as just odd as you can get. We would take a slice of cheese, put it on a plate, put it in a microwave for about 30 seconds, and just eat the melted cheese.
I love melted cheese.
I don't know if little Larry remembers that, but yeah, we ate that a lot. Just
That's funny.
Melted cheese on a plate microwave.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And you just mentioned 364 St. Cloud. You have a single out. And
yes.
That song, the video, I love it. it's wonderful. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was, we wish we had like more, like, because when Mom and I out there, I mean, nobody really, it's kind of like the scene was like in the mid 80s. We lived for the moment. We didn't take a bunch of pictures. We got to the club, we partied our ass off, we rocked our ass off. We went to a party, we went home. There was no taking selfies, taking pictures outside the club. We went there, we partied, we dominated, we fucked shit up, and then went home. Same thing with the house.
Nobody could prove it.
Exactly. We could do whatever we wanted, but yeah, we never like really got like a lot of pictures like inside the house. I remember everything about the house. It's ingrained in my brain.
Yeah.
I wish I could draw it or something. But yeah, there's really no pictures. I would have loved to get some pictures inside the house and put that in the video. That would have been rad. But I'm like, you know what? Because the song's not necessarily, it's not about the house, because I wanted the song to be about something where people can identify with that were around the scene. That like, man, I remember that fun place. I remember this place. That was the coolest fucking time. There's only so much you can film there, especially in the Rainbow, because like in the 80s they were very strict from Led Zeppelin on, through the late 80s, early 90s. No cameras. If you were to take a picture,
it had such a lore. Yeah.
It did. Yeah. It did. Well, I mean, and Mario saw to it that nothing got outside. It was like, whatever stays in here, you can talk about it when you get home, but you're not going to have any video, any photo evidence, because the bands that were. He was very protective.
No, and I'm glad.
I was going to say, that leads me to something, Justin.
Thank God.
So you know the premise of our podcast being for fans by fans, and when we talked before, we're very intrigued with your Motley Crue adventures. So we do not have a Motley Crue episode to date. So you are it. So talk to us about when you first got clued into Motley Crue and just carry the story through.
So I first got wind of this band, Motley Crue, when they were, Hollywood kids run around the streets, causing all sorts of, mayhem, ruckus, and chaos and anarchy. They would go into the clubs, promote shows or whatever. My Aunt Althea, again, she met up with them probably at the Rainbow, and again, she knew talent. She's like, "Hey, you guys want to come back to the house? We got booze, food, all sorts of whatever you want. Come back to the house."
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like it's like the Playboy Mansion, and who isn't going to go there, right?
Right.
But this was different though. So they went out there. So Larry and Althea, again, just counterculture icons to be. They went back to the house and became friends with Althea. Althea really, really, really liked Tommy.
So did we.
I did too. He would have turned me GAY, but no, I'm not. I gotta watch I don't want to get you censored. But yeah, so Motley would come back to the house, probably without Mick. They would come back to the house and just party for a couple of days. Eventually, Althea and Larry would have to kick him out. I was like, well, we have to go to work now. We have to, you have to go home. So this happened. Yeah, this happened several times. So then, of course, they made the Too Fast for Love record. The first time that I really got wind, I saw the record in the house. They're like, man, who are these guys? These guys look pretty cool. I always thought in my mind as a 12-year-old that if you look at Vince Neil really close, he's got this I call it the handcuff belt.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Althea gave me one of those. Yep. So Althea, it was a handcuff with a chain. The chain was right in the middle. She had the handcuffs on the side and the belt wrapped around your back. So among the treasure chest of gifts that Althea closed was a pair of handcuff belts. And as a 12-year-old, I could have swore to God, this is the belt that's on that Motley Crue back cover.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? It probably wasn't. It probably wasn't, but in the back of my mind, it was. And so I was like, man, this is pretty cool.
Did you have any times where, with the connections with you that you had, that you, I mean, we've seen the chaos like backstage and all of that just through video, where you got to meet up with the guys and like, you know, any
Mm-mm.
adventures
No,
in regards to that?
yeah, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Althea passed
No,
away
I,
in '87.
unfortunately.
That would
Yeah.
have been my end. Um,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, I don't really see it
Yep.
that way, but that would have been, Althea definitely would have made a call to Nikki or Tommy and said, "Hey, my nephew is going to meet up with you guys at the Richfield Coliseum in
Yeah.
Cleveland or whatever, and if you can hook him up, that'd be great. Just have a pass waiting for him and his friend or whatever."
Yeah.
Larry kept in contact with the guys in Motley with Nikki. But yeah, Dr. Feelgood tour was awesome. They had a band called Johnny Crash open up for him. They were killer. Again, like another like LA version of AC/DC,
Oh,
just really raw, 5 pieces, badass.
we saw
Then of
them
course we
with
know what
Faster
happened with.
Pussycat.
Okay,
We saw them when
awesome,
That's what
Faster
we said.
that's
Pussycat
killer,
opened. Yeah. Yeah.
killer. But to
I'm
this
gonna.
day, I'm a fucking crew head through and through. That
They
is the
are.
band that I pattern, not my life around, because that would be very bad, but I patterned my music inspiration from.
Yeah.
Tell me, speaking of your music, what do you have going on right now? I want to end this with talking about you and your music and what's going on with
Okay.
Cruella and Justin right
Okay.
now.
So Cruella D'Vil, this project, just as of right now, I am the face of the project. It's basically just me. I have a singer that's helping me out. He's from the UK. Brilliant, fucking. He's really really talented. I'm glad I found him. It's just he's a normal guy.
What's his name?
His name is Jamie Wiltshire,
Okay.
and he just got married. He just had a baby, and he just redid his studio, so things are kind of behind on single number 3.
Okay.
But I'm going to be sending him vocals like probably Monday. It's only going to take him a couple days to get him back. We go back to Adam, mix. I do background vocals, everything. It's mixed. We just had to add the vocals in, which will change things. And then I think by the end of April, single number 3 will be out, and it's called
Yay.
Wonderland, and it's about the Wonderland murders, July 1st, 1981, that nobody has ever written a song about yet.
We're
Johnny's on the
ready.
case, baby.
We're ready.
It's heavy. It's what I describe as Motley '94 meets the Murder Dolls.
Okay.
It's heavy. It's punk. It's metal. It's in your face. It's badass song. And I was hoping to have this out before we did this, so you guys can hear it. But yeah, late April that'll be out. In about a week or two, Adam and I are going. Actually, maybe even the same day, we're going to start recording single number 4. It's called Moonshine, and it's kind of like almost like a blues metal song. It's gonna be interesting. It's kind of going back a little bit to what Cruella D'Vil was intentionally, which is a triple X rated rock and roll. The lyrics are pretty vulgar. Single number 5. It actually has to do with my mom and Althea's parents. It's about domestic abuse, and it's called Bullet. It's kind of an eerie title, but it's called Bullet Through My Valentine. After that,
How are you on social media? Tell us
what's
about.
that?
How are you getting it out? How are you getting the word out about your
Oh,
music? Yes, great.
social media, big time. I'm pounding the pavement. Anybody that's willing to listen.
Right.
Let's see if so. I'm on Instagram, Cruella.Deville, DVIL.music. Most of the shit's on there. You can go on the site, CruellaDeville.com, CRUELLADVIL.com. Everything's there, including the videos. All the links to the socials are on there. But yeah, everything's there. I'm on Facebook, just under Cruella D'Vil. Again, the link is on the site. You'll find a lot easier if you just go there. The music's available anywhere. Any even Russian streaming platforms is still there.
My question was just about to be: are you using DistroKid to get it out, or do you have something else that you use?
My producer Adam is pounding the pavement for me to switch to DistroKid for video purposes, because their video, it automatically gets into what's called Vivo, and I guess there's a lot of benefits there. I guess, but for right now, I'm using TuneCore. So TuneCore is putting out everywhere. So it's on Apple Music, Spotify, Mars, Venus,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
your bedroom.
my
It's
my
everywhere.
husband
At least it
uses
better
Kid
be,
for
anyways.
his too, so that's why I was asking.
Yep. Yeah. Adam says I need to switch to DistroKid, which I might. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's really no different. It's just, it's a matter of, processes being different, whatever. But yep.
Okay, and last
Awesome.
one more question for just today. Are you touring with your music?
Or will
I
you
want
be?
to so fucking bad. It's just me. I'm having a really difficult time finding dudes because I'm looking for crazy vampire misfits is what I'm looking for.
Johnny.
And here in Ohio, they don't exactly grow on. They don't exactly grow on trees around here. Let me tell you.
I bet I know where you could find them. Yeah, though.
Yeah, no, they're not
Get back to
here.
Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend Don says I need to, just move to the UK and start a punk band with Jamie, which would be pretty cool. But Jamie's he's just a family dude, really talented, but he's a normal guy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
He's not a, I'm going to put on a fucking shit ton of makeup and put my shit out there and, whatever. I really hope, because I have all sorts of visual ideas, song ideas. I have a whole concert in my head, what it would sound like, what it would look like.
Yeah.
In my head, and I would love to
crazy.
take to a stage, because it's been over 20 years since I've been on stage, which is criminal.
Yeah.
Criminal.
Amy, we had a fun time talking to Justin. And
We
I have to
did.
say that the interview, we didn't get to all the stories that we wanted to hear
Yeah.
from Justin. So since then, we've heard more of Justin's stories that we loved. And one of them is meeting three of the four members of Motley Crue at different times. And it was in 2013, he met Vince Neil and showed Vince Neil his tattoo that Justin has. It's a pink heart with Althea's signature in it, and talked to him about their time at 364 St. Cloud. And I thought that was a lot of fun. And he also has a great Nikki Sixx story.
I love this.
And Amy, can you play what Justin said
Yeah.
about Nikki Sixx?
Yeah, here we go.
So 2004, Nikki was on tour with this band called Brides of Destruction that had Tracy Guns, London LeGrand was the singer, and they had this guy Scott. We call him Cookie Monster. Scott Coogan. He was the drummer. So he was doing. I was living in Cleveland at the time. Even though I had left that band that I was in, I stayed in Cleveland for a little bit. And the bass player in that band, he was worked at a radio station, and Nikki had stopped by to do promo that morning for the show later that night. And but my friend Corey, my bass player at the time, Corey, he let me know. He's like, "Hey, Nikki's going to be stopping by the studio. If you want to, I can't let you in the building, but if you want to hang out outside, maybe you might be able to meet him. Get a picture, autograph, whatever." So I was listening. I was literally listening to it on the radio, and the station, mind you, was only like 10, 15 minutes away from my house at the time. So he could have easily, but I was scared shitless because Nikki Sixx was like a god, and so I was like freaking out. I was like, man, I want to go. Should I not go? Should I go? Should I not go? Well, discussion came up about Larry. And I was like, dude, that's my fucking cue. So I grabbed a couple of Hustler magazine covers that they were on previously, grabbed them, drove to the station, got there. There was a tour bus right outside the big ass building, but it was leaving. It was moving. It was like, motherfucker, I lost my shot. But it was actually backing up to get Nikki. So I walked up to the tour bus, and there was one guy there, one fucking dude, only one dude waiting. I was like, dude, is Nikki come out yet? He was like, no, it hasn't come out yet. I'm like, thank God. So waited maybe 10 more minutes. Nikki came out. I had, my two Hustler magazine covers that he signed, and said, hey, I'm Larry and Althea's nephew. Been a huge fan. They loved having you at the house, whatever. He's like, oh, dude, right on. And so he signed those and signed my arm. And I got it tattooed on my arm the next day. So that's meeting Nikki. So who's next? Tommy.
Oh my gosh. I absolutely adore that story. There's so much just fan part of that where you get to meet like your favorite guy. You know, I absolutely love Justin's story. Okay, so he did say next up Tommy. I will tell you, Justin's meeting of Tommy happened to be in a club, and Tommy was walking one way, Justin was walking another, and it happened to be towards each other. They locked eyes for a minute, kind of gave a high five, but you could tell that Tommy was kind of on his way, walking with purpose somewhere. So he just got this really cool kind of high five and a pat on the back, and that's what that interaction was. So totally cool, you know, kind of compared to the Nikki bit. And I
Well,
absolutely like. I'm like, how many times do you have, like, all of us have a story like that? We're like, do we? Don't we? Oh my gosh, you know, what do we do? And you
and
know what it
Aim,
brings
I
me
was
back
holding
to?
up while I was talking my Nikki Six book, This Is Gonna Hurt, where he talks about all his different tattoos. So
Yep.
it hit me, and I was like, love it, love that Justin
Yeah.
tattooed Nikki's signature on his arm.
I totally get that. Should I, shouldn't I? We have, okay, so
Yeah,
in some of our pictures, in our intro and maybe our outro, were actually taken at Oakland Coliseum when we went to go see Motley Crue. And I remember we saw them twice, 2 nights in a row. And I
we
remember
did.
the first night with a group of girls. Do
Oh,
you
I
remember this on
remember.
the car ride there? We got passed by this limo. And you could see like the shadows of the people in the car. And I just blurted out, "Oh my god, it's them!" Right? We're like what, 16? And why did I think it was Motley Crue? It's Nikki
Nikki
Sixx's nose.
Six's nose.
So we like
And
floored it
Florida.
following
Oh my
this
God.
limo,
Followed this
thinking that
limo.
it's Motley Crue in this limo.
And I think Amy, what popped out of the limo was a beautiful lady
Right? With Nikki Sixx's nose.
with Nikki Six's beautiful nose.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay, Justin, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. We had a blast. Loved hearing them. I know you have so many more. But you guys, it's time to move on to business. And today, when we put this out, it is May 14th. Our t-shirt giveaway ends tomorrow. So if you are watching this after May 15th, maybe we'll do another one. But May 15th, we are going to do a drawing for a Rock the Life t-shirt. How do you enter to win this drawing, this t-shirt? It's super easy. Go to Rock the Life Girl Instagram page, click on the little icon that takes you to our reels, and or kind of scroll through and share one of our reels to your stories, and make sure you tag Rock the Life Girl. That's it. That's it. Make sure you're following us on our socials, Rock the Life Girl on Instagram, TikTok as well, but I haven't been very active there lately. And if you have a story to tell, be it Motley Crue or another fun rock and roll story, uh, please send us an email at Amy at RockTheLife@outlook.com. You can also message me on Instagram. I check the requests all the time. What else? Anything else?
That's it. I hope with the summer season coming,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fun concerts in people's future and we get to hear about them.
Yeah, I'm excited. We have some fun stories coming up. I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. All right, you guys, don't forget, as always, rock the life.
Rock the life. Bye,
It's so
Amy.
crazy. Oh my gosh, bye. Love you.
Love you too.